Namaste everyone, I'm your co-host Shravani ma'am. Welcome to your favorite learning channel. The topic for today's video is differences between photosynthesis and respiration. So we had previously learnt about photosynthesis and now we know that photosynthesis is a process performed by all the autotrophic organisms for synthesis of their food. So today we will be learning about how photosynthesis is different from the process of respiration. Okay. So the first parameter on which we will differentiate these two processes would be their definition. Okay. So how can we define photosynthesis? So photosynthesis is a process, okay, in which the autotrophs prepare or synthesize their food, okay, and this food is synthesized in the form of glucose in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, okay. And what happens? Oxygen is released as a byproduct. Oxygen is released as a byproduct. Okay, this is the process of photosynthesis. Now, what is respiration? Respiration is also a process in which glucose is broken down. Glucose is broken down glucose is actually broken down to what? It is broken down to release energy, and this energy is further utilized, okay, this energy is utilized to perform several functions of the body, okay. So this is the process of respiration. Then the second parameter we would discuss here is the type of the process. So here photosynthesis, it is anabolic, whereas respiration is catabolic in nature. So anabolic means it involves the formation of substances. In photosynthesis, food is being formed from simple substances like carbon dioxide and water. We had already seen and studied about photosynthesis. Whereas catabolic process means it is a process of breaking down of components. So here glucose is being broken down. So it is a catabolic process. The next parameter would be their occurrence. Okay, occurrence. So photosynthesis takes place in green plants, algae, cyanobacteria. Okay, that is in all the autotrophic organisms, whereas respiration occurs, it takes place in all the living organisms. Okay, so all the living organisms, they perform the process of respiration, whereas photosynthesis is only performed by the autotrophic organisms like green plants, algae and cyanobacteria. Okay, then the fourth parameter is we are going to consider here is glucose. So in case of photosynthesis, what is happening? Glucose is being produced. Correct? The glucose is being produced in this process, whereas in case of respiration, the glucose is broken down. The next point would be, or the next parameter would be, the byproduct. So in case of photosynthesis, the byproduct is oxygen, whereas in case of respiration, the byproduct that is produced here is carbon dioxide. Okay. Then the sixth parameter is location. So the location of photosynthesis is, it occurs in chlorophyll containing cells. So all the autotrophs where chlorophyll is present, in those cells the process of photosynthesis takes place, whereas process of respiration occurs in all the cells. So all the living organisms perform respiration, and this process of respiration occurs in all the cells of all the living organisms. Okay. So now let's quickly revise the things that we have studied. So we saw that photosynthesis and respiration, they differ from each other. So the first parameter on which we differentiated these two processes were on definition. We saw that photosynthesis is such a process where autotrophs prepare their own food in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, and here the food is produced in the form of glucose, and oxygen here is released as a byproduct. Whereas respiration is such a process where glucose is broken down to release energy, and this energy is further utilized by our body for performing various functions of the body. Okay. Then the second parameter was the type of the process. So photosynthesis is an anabolic process as it involves the formation of substances. Here the simple substances like carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water from the soil combine to form food in the form of glucose. Here something is being formed, that is glucose is being formed. Hence this process of formation is called anabolic process, whereas respiration is a catabolic process because it involves the breaking down of substances. Here glucose is being broken down, hence it is a catabolic process. Then we saw that photosynthesis takes place in all the autotrophic organisms like green plants, algae, cyanobacteria, whereas the process of respiration occurs in all the living organisms. Then we considered the next parameter as glucose, and we saw that glucose is produced in case of photosynthesis, whereas the glucose is broken down in case of respiration. Then the byproduct formed is oxygen in case of photosynthesis, whereas in case of respiration carbon dioxide is formed as a byproduct. Then we saw the specific location where these processes occur. So the process of photosynthesis takes place in chlorophyll containing cells. Those cells which have the presence of this green pigment chlorophyll, only and only those cells would perform the process of photosynthesis, whereas the process of respiration takes place in all the cells present in all the living organisms. Okay. So here is a picture depicting photosynthesis versus respiration in case of plants. Here we can see that photosynthesis in plants takes place during the daytime. Why? Because during the daytime there is availability of sunlight, and we already know that photosynthesis can only take place in presence of sunlight. So during daytime, in the presence of sunlight, we can see that during the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is being absorbed by the plants and oxygen is being released as a byproduct. Whereas in case of respiration that takes place at night in case of plants, during night what happens? There is no sunlight, so plants cannot perform the process of photosynthesis. During this time, that is during night, they perform respiration, and in respiration oxygen is taken in by the plants and carbon dioxide is being released at night, that is during respiration. And this is the case of plants where during the daytime photosynthesis takes place and during night time respiration takes place. So I hope you all would have got some great insights by watching today's video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Till then, thank you for watching.